Hi, my name is Nevaeh Verduzco. I'm currently a sports medicine 3 student here at South Tahoe High School, and I did my 4th project on nutrition for salt intake. What is salt and what is salt intake? Salt, otherwise known as sodium, is a small mineral composed of sodium and chloride. We consume more salt than we know every day, and you can find it in just about everything. In most processed foods that we eat, or just to give our food a bit more flavor, there's more sodium in those foods than we know, we just don't realize it. Salt intake is as it sounds. It's the amount of salt that we consume on a daily basis in our diets. On average, a human will consume about 3,400 to 3,600 milligrams of salt per day, which is roughly about 2 teaspoons much. Here are some of those foods with a higher sodium content that we eat almost every day. First, we have those types of breads. Our sourdough and flatbreads are going to contain the most amount of sodium, while other ones like grain and whole wheat are going to have lower amounts of sodium. Different cheeses are also going to have higher amounts of sodium content in them. It really just depends on what you like to eat. For example, Parmesan cheese is going to have a higher amount of sodium content, up to almost 900 milligrams of salt, while other cheeses like Swiss are going to have lower amounts of sodium, almost under 174 milligrams. And next we have French fries. They don't have as much sodium as you would think unless you like to add more on top of them after they're done. Next we have cold cut and cured meats. Like I said before, it really just depends on what you like to eat. Next we have our canned soups. Our soups like chicken noodle are going to contain a higher amount of sodium than if you were to be served in a restaurant. And then finally, condiments. Condiments like soy sauce and teriyaki are going to have higher amounts of sodium, while mayo and mustard are going to be a lot lower in sodium. And those products you see in the store that say reduced sodium or lower sodium, they really only go down 100 milligrams or less than that. Intaking too much sodium can have minor to major effects on your body and overall health in general. It can cause dehydration, high blood pressure, which leads to possible stroke and heart attacks. And that reason is consuming more salt can lead to water retention, which can also cause artery flow to become elevated, and it can also cause organ damage, obesity, and kidney disease. When kidney disease occurs, all the salt dries out your kidney from trying to conserve water, and almost all of these can relate back to having high blood pressure. Now, these are some of those positive effects of sodium intake. It can be beneficial when you consume it in the right amounts. Salt helps balance the fluid in our cells. The sodium gradient is used by the transport protein known as a sodium glucose. Both glucose and sodium enter the cell, and the sodium is possibly flowed by water. This also helps support nerve and muscle function. It only requires a small amount of sodium to help conduct nerve impulses and contract and relax muscles. It also helps regulate blood pressure if taken in right quantities. Sodium also helps with proper digestion by absorbing and transporting nutrients in the intestines. And also, as always, it helps season our food and keeps the bacteria out of it because it cannot survive in the presence of sodium. Keeping a balanced sodium level is super important, especially for our athletes. Because when athletes sweat, it's what's most lost when exercising or playing, is salt, also known as electrolytes. Most athletes will drink pure electrolytes to restore the ones lost. When we are at play, the salt will maintain the electrolyte concentrations. It also helps absorb and retain more fluids in our bodies. Salt also helps boost plasma volume. With more blood you have, it strains less on your cardiovascular system. It also helps reduce risk of heart attacks and stroke. If your salt is too low, it can also cause faciage, really bad muscle cramps, and also headaches. And that's all I got. Thank you guys.